All right, so here's how this is going to work. We're going to spend 2 to 3 minutes listening to pitches from each of our hardware startups. And then, as we did yesterday, we're going to have the audience vote and decide which is their favorite based on a handy applause meter on Todd's phone. And that's how we're going to do it. So first up, we have a very exciting, recently launched product, Glowforge. It's a 3D printing device. And we want to welcome to the stage Dan Shapiro, founder and CEO of Glowforge. Dan, come on up.
Dan, as many of you know, is a longtime Seattle entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur here, and this is his just recently launched project. So, Dan, take it away.
Thank you so much. This is Glowforge, the 3D laser printer. And we launched this just 8 days ago.
Oh, you got it?
I can project really loud.
Yeah, Dan can carry this room.
Go ahead.
Let me know. All right. So this is Glowforge, the 3D laser printer. We launched this just 8 days ago on glowforge.com, and astonishingly, we've actually had over $5 million in pre-orders for this device, which goes for just $2,000. This is a different kind of 3D printer. If you think of a regular 3D printer as a little robot with a hot glue gun who builds stuff up one layer at a time out of plastic, this is like a little robot with a lightsaber. You put inside pieces of beautiful material like wood or paper or recycled cardboard or leather, and the Glowforge cuts and engraves to produce things that you can use in everyday life, things like furniture, like greeting cards, things like my leather shoulder satchel, which was done on the Glowforge. So you can take these beautiful things, you can create a business, you can create things for your home, and this starts at just $19.95 for our basic model, which is a price that's really unheard of for this technology. The industrial technology behind this has actually been around since the 80s, but nobody's put it in a box before that you could put on a desktop, or you could actually put it in a home, in a makerspace, in a studio, and create beautiful things really, really quickly. So I've used it to make everything from wallets to lamps to desktop stands to sushi. If you go to glowforge.com, you can pre-order one for yourself, and you can see a video which will show you all the different things you can make from it. And I just have to say I'm really excited to be here. 10 years ago, on a different stage, under a different banner, you gave me an award for my very first startup, which actually launched our financing round and made it happen. And so I know what we're doing here is really important, and it's a real honor to be here.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
That's great.
Very cool. So you can really put any type of material in there and recreate it.
So you can put organic materials in there, like wood, leather, food, etc. And there's some plastics that you can put in, like acrylics, and then crazy stuff like you can engrave your laptop. If you put it in there, the machine vision system on board will recognize it. It'll set up a template. You just drag pictures over text, and you can personalize your laptop or your phone or consumer electronics.
So how long did it take to create that satchel?
This satchel is probably a one-day project if you've never done anything before on Glowforge. It's about 90 minutes to print, as memory serves, and then it does all the holes for you with precision of about 1/1000 of an inch. So you use a dull needle, it's called a saddle stitch needle, and you just go back and forth. It's about $50 worth of materials, including the buckles and the leather.
So we're going to hear from Nike COO Eric Sprunk here just after this session. I mean, could you imagine a day when people are using this in real manufacturing, you could put Nike shoes into the Glowforge and have this be in mass production for manufacturing?
You know, Bailey, our community manager, has a pair of shoes that was taken from a picture of her foot, and they fit only her and nobody else. And they're made out of real shoe materials, leather and urethane and everything else. This is something really different. This is not, it's being manufactured somewhere thousands of miles away and shipped en masse to your door. This is creating things exactly what you need, exactly when you need them, out of beautiful natural materials. It's like we've had these, it's like we've been eating fast food for years and we've never had kitchens. And we've never been able to make food for ourselves the way we want it. And so I like to think about this as reinventing what it means for something to be homemade. It's something that's better than what you're going to buy in a store, faster and cheaper.
So who is the target market then? It is the hobbyist who wants to create something cool, or?
We're learning.
Yeah.
So we designed this first and foremost thinking that the designers and creators who are creating stores on like Etsy and so on would use this, and that people who love to build things, hobbyists, woodworkers, would do this. What we've seen is huge interest from schools, from architecture firms, from parents who want to be able to print things with their kids. One amazing thing about this, you can actually draw on a piece of material with a pen, put it in here, and it will print over the top of the ink and turn that into something permanent. We built a Settlers of Catan set, working with Mayfair Games,
Yes.
something I know is dear
now
to your
you got
heart.
my attention. Yes,
And
we have a Settlers of Catan tournament at GeekWire, which
Exactly.
we love it. So
And we'll have to bring it.
Okay.
Because we took these beautiful pieces of hardwood. We had an illustrator draw on top of it with a pen. We put a white sticker on top, and she illustrated this with a pen, and then it engraved and cut the tiles out, and it looks amazing. And this is done without Photoshop, without Illustrator. This is something simple enough that, like, my kids can do this, but it's powerful enough that you can use this to run a business.
So the material, the raw material goes in where?
So you lift this open, you put the material inside, and then you go to your iPad, you go to your desktop, Linux, whatever, you upload the product, the design to our server, or you pick one from our catalog, and then you press the single button. And it's on Wi-Fi, and when you press the button, it runs. A typical project is about 15 minutes, and then you're done.
Wow, fantastic. So talk about the software engineering that went into this, because obviously this is a beautiful piece of hardware, but what you're talking about is a software accomplishment as well, I would imagine.
Thank you. Yeah, it's, my background has been mostly software, and the whole idea behind this was, can we make this technology that costs $10,000 and up affordable by using software instead? So there are switches in a normal laser that you'd buy for industrial use, where we've replaced those with smartphone sensors and software. Instead of having alignment beams with low-power lasers that show you where everything is, we have a camera. So you can see a live preview of your material. You can drag around with your finger your design. You can preview it in 3D on the screen and then hit print and know exactly what you're going to get. So that machine vision actually lowered the cost of the machine and made it way more delightful to use.
That's great.
this is great. Thanks. Let's hear it for Dan Shapiro of Glowforge.
Thank you
you,
so
Dan.
much.
Thanks,
Cool
Dan.
stuff.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Vicis. It's a revolutionary football helmet, and here to tell us more about it is Dave Marver, CEO of Vicis. Come on up, Dave. What do we got here?
Yeah, what?
guys.
This
All
is
right.
Yeah.
So sports-related concussion is it's a public health problem, and there isn't a lot of innovation in the helmet space. We thought we could make a difference. So this is the Vicis 01. It's the culmination of 2 years of work, the efforts of 25 people, including 12 full-time engineers, and about $5 million invested, including a grant from the NFL, GE, and Under Armour via the Head Health Challenge program. Also results from extensive user research with NFL and NCAA players, coaches, equipment managers, and trainers. We're very lucky to have the Seahawks and the Huskies here locally. They've been very supportive. We've also worked with the Cowboys and Dolphins and Eagles and Giants, and had a lot of great feedback from all over the league. Now, there's only one true way to demonstrate a helmet, and that's with a collision. So I'm hoping John and Todd, you'll help me out a little bit here.
I haven't tried one on since about the 7th grade.
All right,
Remember, I was a soccer player. So.
John, let's have you put the 01 on.
All right.
And then, Todd, you look like you have an abnormally big head, but I hope this fits you.
All right.
You're probably really smart. So this is the Riddell SpeedFlex. It's the latest and greatest helmet from the market leader. It's kind of a typical legacy helmet, very
So
hard
wait,
outer
you're
shell.
giving me the one without your technology in it.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
After,
John's
say-
the one who
after
invited
saying I
me.
have a
Yeah.
big head.
You're going to have a
yes.
good
here we go.
concussion
I
for
can
the
see
Eric
where-
Sprunk talk. Now, don't
Okay.
screw up your microphone, Todd. Let's see if it works. All right.
I
So
got it.
first
He's
of
got
all,
it. Yeah.
you guys look really good.
Yeah, I know.
I
Thanks,
just want to say
thanks.
that.
I
You
feel
should see
good.
our
I feel good.
superheroes.
Now, I'm CEO. I'm supposed to raise money, put the team together. But to do an accurate test, I think we need somebody who's actually played the game. Is there anybody here, maybe we got lucky, that's played pro football or on the radio or won a couple Super Bowls or no? Anybody who has a winery right now with Dan Marino called Passing Time, producing 94-point... Okay, Damon Heward, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa.
Gonna come up and help
Oh.
us.
Football legend Damon Heward. All right. I'm getting scared now.
Yeah, you guys got to know how to take a hit, from like Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill. So we're going to do this right
Okay.
here.
All right, so
Damon,
you
I
guys
wanna
just
remind-
turn around and face the audience here. We
see
don't
what's
want you to know what's going
So
on.
we're going to get a little hit to the head here. See who can
Todd,
take
I
it
think you're going to
best.
be hurting.
Okay.
Dave, I can't do this, man.
No,
I was going to take it.
Yeah,
I was going to take it.
yeah, here.
Okay.
This
all
is
right.
the
We're
end of the
gonna take it
GeekWire
easy on you,
Summit.
okay?
Right here.
Okay.
All right, so not quite realistic, but we'll give it a shot anyway. Okay, listen to this one.
All right.
Does that hurt, Todd?
It doesn't feel good, that's for sure.
Yeah. Especially after the opening night party last night. We have a few hangovers up here.
Okay.
Oh, totally different.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The watermelon
No,
you
no,
test in the
you
store.
can hit him a little harder.
Okay.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Hey, no, Ty, don't. This is still a prototype.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, let's have a hand for Damon Eward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Dave.
Damon. That's
Appreciate
awesome.
it. So the helmets sound different. First of all, we didn't learn that much, but it was kind of fun. But the helmets sound different because they are designed differently. And we don't have that hard polycarbonate shell. We have a multi-layered system with a novel kind of outer shell material and a novel engineered structure. And we've just redesigned the helmet from scratch to provide protection against not just skull fracture, which is what today's helmets protect against, but traumatic brain injury or concussion.
Excellent.
You want me to keep modeling, or?
I think everyone would like that.
So
Sure.
just to be crystal clear, what is different? What specifically is different about this helmet compared to the normal one that I was
Yeah,
using?
again, so those helmets, they do the job they were asked to do, and that's to protect against skull fracture. They're like a motorcycle helmet. They have a hard outer shell and some sort of a foam padding. Our helmet has multiple layers all working in concert, and the job it does is to slow acceleration, like a car bumper or a crumple zone in a car, something like that. And in doing so, we reduce the forces that are likely to cause concussion.
Okay.
So the interesting thing about this, Dave, is that the helmet is. This is not the typical design. You are pretty stealthy about this still.
We are, and this is
yeah.
Dazzle Cam. It was used in World War I to keep the design of ships and the secret.
Right.
We just don't want to put this on the web yet.
Yeah. So you're just trying to keep it. When are you going to launch then? What's
So
the
we're
plan?
going to launch the helmet or unveil it in early January, and it should be available for pro and college teams starting in March and April when their off seasons begin.
Do you have any contracts yet?
No contracts yet because we've not yet commercialized or launched, but a lot of interest. We're getting great feedback from the players and teams, and again, we think we're going to make a dent, so to speak, in the concussion
Right.
crisis.
And how much would it cost roughly?
Well, it's going to be more expensive than today's helmets. We've got a lot of R&D into it, and it's performing. It's offering breakthroughs in safety and comfort and fit, and so it'll be more expensive, but the price is TBD.
And your background and the team's background is really interesting. I mean, this isn't just a bunch of Joe Schmoes who decided to build a football helmet. Tell us about who's behind.
Well, I may be
the
Joe
company.
Schmo, but my partners
Your
definitely
partners
are
are
not.
good, though.
So we're kind of we're playing at the intersection of engineering, medicine, and sport. I come from a med tech background, as do most of management. My co-founders are a pediatric neurosurgeon and the chair of mechanical engineering at University of Washington. And we have lots of kind of former players that have joined the team that have also worked in med tech. And we're trying to approach it like it's a medical technology because it's a serious issue.
Yeah. Why did you start the company?
Well,
What was the initial
pro-
genesis of it?
Sam Browd is the pediatric neurosurgeon. He's director of sports concussion at Seattle Children's. He sees a lot of kids who get concussions from playing soccer or football, and he has to retire them at age 12, 13, 15. It's sad. And so, we have a relationship, and we got together, as did Professor Ryan Hall, and we figured, let's see if we can do something better. Let's reimagine the football helmet.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Good stuff.
All
This
right.
is
Well, thanks,
fantastic.
Dave. That is
everybody.
Dave
Vicis.
Marver.
Dave Marver of Vicis, and we'll be seeing that very, very soon. I think next season, perhaps even. So very cool. Next up, we have a LumaGear, which is a new type of illuminating device for construction workers. Come on up. Andrew Royal is the co-founder and president of LumaGear.
Welcome,
From one
Andrew.
helmet to a next.
That's right.
Welcome.
Hi, so I'm Andrew Royal, the president of LumaGear. LumaGear's mission is to illuminate people at risk, making them safer and more prepared in any environment. And our first target audience is the construction industry, which is actually the largest industry in the world, but it's also one of the most dangerous. So just to give you a sense of that, every 8 hours, a worker dies on a construction job site in the US. So in a typical workday, that means 3 people don't get home to their families. In addition, hundreds of thousands of people get injured on work sites every year. Now, what do we tell a worker to wear or to use in order to be safer? Well, we give them this vest, mandated by the government, to be seen. The problem with this vest is it's a passive system. It only works if someone else's light hits you. Otherwise, you're still as dark as night. And to actually see your work area, we either flood a general work zone with an area light, or we tell you to go to REI and buy a camping light in order to light up your work zone. Designed to dig in a backpack when you're camping, not a construction tool. So we formed Illumigear because we thought we could do better. We thought we could build a better product. And so we came up with this, which is the Halo Light. And the way the Halo Light works, fits on any standard hardhat simply by lining it up and pressing it down, and then it locks in place. But once it's on, it stays on, so you could be even working on a jackhammer. It's going to stay on, but it's just as easy to pull off. And by designing it this way, we also don't invalidate the hardhat rating, which is really important. Now, once it's on, it has a number of modes. So the first is Halo mode. So this puts out 276 lumens in 360 degrees, meaning you're visible over a quarter mile away in all directions at all times. You're actively illuminated. The next mode, High Alert. So if you think of someone like a flagger on the side of the road, or someone trying to signal a crane operator, or a vehicle operator, this puts out a pulsating, rotating light, very attention-grabbing. The third, you got to get your work done, we go to Task mode. So this pushes most of the power to the front, putting out 82 candela of power to fully flood your task area right out to your visual periphery. And because it's rather bright, we have a dim mode when someone comes over to talk to you. We use a lithium-ion rechargeable battery pack, which provides over 12 hours of life on a single charge. It's also very durable. It's a tool, not just something that's going to break. IP67 keeps out the dirt, the dust, the water, the mud, but it's also been durability tested. We've dropped it from multiple stories onto concrete, even driven over it with a Jeep. We've been in market for about a year. We now currently sell to 14 of the 30 largest U.S. construction companies in the United States, 150 of the ENR top 400 U.S. contractors, and we currently have 20 of the 50 state DOTs using our product.
Cool, thanks, Andrew. So the technology itself, is this patented, and where did you come up with the idea?
So my co-founder comes from construction. I came from tech. So he was the original inventor of the product. He saw a gap just being on the job site himself each day. I'm sorry, what was the rest of the question?
Is it patented?
Yeah, so we have issued both design and utility patents for the US, Canada, Australia, and pending for Europe and China.
Yeah. You mentioned that construction is obviously your first target market.
Right.
Give us a sense beyond that and beyond what you discussed for where this could go and the other potential applications.
Well, construction alone, and when I say construction, I also mean verticals that include mining, oil and gas, those sorts of things. So it's an enormous industry. It's projected to reach $20 trillion by 2020. So that alone gives us a pretty good space to work in. Within that space, there are additional needs. We know customers would like to see some modifications. I have some prototypes, but given the audience, we haven't IP protected. I couldn't bring it today. I would love to show people in a different environment.
Put it in that camo tape that Dave Marver had, hide everything, yeah.
But yeah, so we have some different ideas around where we can take the product over time. And also some plans already, like, again, in this prototype, where we start to integrate software into this. Because the idea is that this isn't just a light, it's an active safety system. And so we've got some technology that we're starting to work on now to be able to communicate between workers, between, say, the safety manager and the people on the crew on the job site.
Okay, fantastic.
And what's the cost?
So the MSRP is $199, but since we're selling these typically in larger orders, I'm working with distributors that, the prices go down for our customers.
And you're selling it to government as well, so is that a tough sell, or how, because it could be hard to penetrate, right?
Yeah, I'd say the hardest challenge for us, I said we've been in market since last year, but this industry moves very slowly. And so it takes time. We're a new company, a new brand with a new product in a new category. And so there's a period of evaluation with our customers, to work into their budgets, and also for them to recognize there's a better replacement for what they're currently using.
Okay.
And do you have is there a story of this actually saving a life that you know of, or I guess you wouldn't know, right?
So that's always a little hard to measure. But I'll give you one example.
Yeah.
So we're endorsed by the American Association of Safety Councils. We know Zurich Insurance, which is a major insurer of construction companies, endorses us as a safety product that they recommend. And one of our customers, ramming companies, did an independent study separate from us and came back and showed us the results that they saw a 92% reduction in lack of visibility for their crews when they were using the halo light.
That's great.
That's great.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, that's Andrew Royal of Illumigir, and thank you for showing it off.
Yeah,
That's
thank you very
cool
much, Andrew.
stuff.
All right. So are we going to move the Glowforge off? Okay, come on up. Come on up. Are we going to grab the Glowforge?
Yeah, do we need MSR? Do you need the table?
Yeah, come on up.
All right, all right.
All right, we'll do a quick transition here.
Quick transition on the Glowforge.
It's been interesting to see the difference between yesterday's inventions we love and today's. I think all of them are obviously very worthy, and that's why we picked them. I can see a lot of immediate applications for all of the things that we've been seeing here today, especially the football helmet, because, the hammer on the top
I thought you were
going to
say the 3D printed action figures,
Oh,
which
well, that
has an
too.
immediate utility on my mantle at home. So
That's right.
that was the winner yesterday for those who weren't here.
Finally, we have the MSR SC200. This is a community chlorine maker. It is a partnership of MSR, Mountain Safety Research, and PATH, the global health nonprofit based here in Seattle. Please welcome to the stage Laura McLaughlin, Director of MSR Global Health, and Glenn Austin, Senior Advisor of Product Development at PATH. It's great to have you both here.
Thank you.
All right, wow, you got a fan club.
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, this is the MSR SC200 community chlorine maker. And this technology is what happens when a world-class global health organization and a 40-year-old outdoor company set out to solve a problem. And it all started with a challenge. PATH came to MSR and asked us to design a low-cost, durable, easy-to-operate way to get safe water, to treat water, in low-income communities in the developing world. And they framed that challenge with a problem, and I wanted to talk about that today. That is that 2 billion people in the world don't have reliable access to safe water. So that's billion with a B. It's a staggering number, and what's even more shocking about it is that most of the suffering from the lack of access of water falls on children. And that motivated our teams to do the best that they could do. And 7 years later, and many trips to Africa, and a lot of design iterations later, PATH and MSR launched the SC200. And Glenn's going to tell you a little bit about how it works and what we did to get it right with end users.
Thank you, Laura. Every aspect of this device was informed by end users in over 13 user trials in various African countries. At its core, it's very simple. All you need is salt mixed with water and a source of electricity. In this case, a 12-volt battery. This also works with line voltage. The user burden is very low, getting the salt in the water, pouring it into a line, and pushing a button. That's all we've asked of the user. As you can see, the reaction has started. And at the base of this device, that reaction is constantly being monitored to ensure that the quality and the concentration of the chlorine is perfect for treating drinking water. The reason we feel this is a solution is it's very difficult to get chlorine and store it in developing country settings. It's highly caustic, it's very difficult to ship, and it has a very limited shelf life. Salt's easy to get. This is an easy way to make chlorine. When this is done in about 7 minutes, every cycle, 7-minute cycle, produces enough chlorine concentrate to treat 200 liters of water. That's 10 of these jerry cans. This one's from Tanzania. And each jerry can is enough to fill the need of an average family for their need for drinking water for a day. So this tiny device every day could fulfill the need for safe drinking water for hundreds of people in developing countries. It's been an exciting and long journey, but I think what's next is even more exciting, and Laura can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, MSR is learning from the SC200, which is now our flagship product for MSR Global Health, a brand new division of MSR. And next, we are refining our distribution chain to get these out to the people who need them most in developing countries. And we're working very closely with PATH on a few new technologies that are coming down the pipeline.
Oh, what are those?
Well, Todd, I'm glad you asked. We're working on a larger electrochlorinator that's geared more toward refugee camps and disaster settings to meet a larger demand for more than hundreds of people.
That's fantastic. So in terms of your market scope so far, how many of these devices have been rolled out? Because I was actually at the launch a few months ago, and I know it was a big deal, and a lot of the global health community is really behind this, especially locally. How far have you gotten into the market?
So we've shipped about 200 since the launch. And as I said, we're building our distribution chain, so we expect that to increase once we set up our distribution chain in Africa, Asia, and South America.
Okay. In terms of this core technology, the chemical reaction that you're creating, are there other applications or other challenges that you could solve by using a similar approach where you create a concentrate like this that can be applied to other types of situations?
Yeah, there are. Do you want to talk about some of our work in health clinics?
Yeah, I think that chlorine is something we take for granted and maybe even object to in our drinking water, but it's a very powerful tool in developing countries for infection control, infection prevention, and many health clinics have very few options for actually making the surfaces they use and the equipment and the instruments they use safe for the next patient. I think we really saw a dramatic example of this with the Ebola outbreak, that chlorine was used in every single aspect of trying to contain Ebola, whether it's a spray solution for clothing and dressings and even bodies, up to washing hands with a weak chlorine solution. So that's one of the lessons we learned about this, is that making a much larger scale in a much more flexible way could meet these really dire needs in emergency situations.
So MSR is a for-profit company and Path is a nonprofit. So how does this work? And is there a business model here? And are you selling this? And talk a little bit about that.
Sure. MSR, our goal is to have a sustainable business model. And Path has been our advisor and partner through every step of the way. So we're an outdoor company. That's our core business and where we started. And it took a lot of learning and guidance and knowledge of the market, it's a brand new market, to shift our technologies, which are a good fit for low resource settings. There's a lot of need out there that can use them, but to get them into appropriate products that the end users can use in an effective way.
And from Path's standpoint, we always rely on private and public sector partnerships to make these technologies available. And in this case, it's a wonderful case of the rich innovation ecosystem in the Seattle area. And we have only just scratched the surface of what we might do with MSR, because they work on survival techniques technologies for mountaineers and backpackers who are in crisis situations themselves, who need really rugged technologies to work. So this is just the beginning of this business.
Yeah, I imagine even some hikers would want this. If I wanted to get this for my next climb up Rainier, my first climb up Rainier, is there any chance that I could get this in the United States?
Yes, so they're available on our website, msrglobalhealth.com. They retail at $139, which makes it, as you climbed Mount Rainier, it would be the lowest cost way, one of the lowest cost ways of treating water out there, since it lasts for years and treats water. You could bring 100 or more, hundreds of your closest colleagues with you and treat water for them as well.
Good, very
Let's
good.
go on a climbing expedition with
Yes,
100 of our
that's
closest
right.
friends. Well, that's great stuff. Yeah, why don't you guys stick up here and let's bring up the other three Inventions We Love companies, and
Yeah.
we'll do our official vote here. And we got Leslie Grandy of Best Buy. Why don't you come up, Leslie, sponsor of this session? Come on up, and why don't we step right up to the front, guys? Just right up here. Here you go. Todd, this was a good crop.
It was very
This
good.
is a very
Yeah.
good crop of
Yeah.
companies. Very impressive. I think each one of these could potentially win. Each one of these could win.
Okay.
So, Dan, why don't we set you right here, Dan? Scooch over, Dave. Put Vicis here. There we go. Okay.
This is a good app, by the way. It's called
Yeah.
Noise. It does decibels.
Todd is going to do this through an old-fashioned applause meter on his phone. So we will see how this goes. Todd, clock which ones, all right?
Okay,
Let's
you're
start first. Everyone who wants to vote, just clap, get as loud as you can. We're going to try to rock that applause meter. Who wants to hear it for the Glowforge? That's pretty good.
Okay, hold off.
That's pretty good.
Hold off. Hold off.
She recorded?
right,
Yep,
go.
he's got it.
Go for it.
Next up, who wants to hear it for Vicis? Vicis, all right.
All right.
Illumigear.
Wait. Sorry. Okay, go.
Illumigear. Oh, man. This seems really close.
It
Wow.
actually, it really is, and I'm a little concerned here, but let's go.
And the MSR device. Uh-oh.
Yep. Yep.
My old-fashioned ear tells me something. I don't know if we need an app for that.
Yep, that was the
but
MSR.
I think we give the prize, top prize MSR.
That's right, yep.
MSR and Path. Congrats, guys. Here we have Leslie Grandy from Best Buy, who has a special little prize for you guys.
Thank you. Congratulations. This is a $100 gift certificate to Best Buy as well as a Sphero BB-8 app-enabled droid robot. So enjoy.
Oh my gosh, thank you so
Good,
much.
good. All 4 pitches were fantastic
This was a
today.
great group.
Really great group. Let's hear it for all of our Inventions We Love companies. Great. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everybody.